The lobby buzzed with quiet energy as guests moved through the sleek modern space of the luxurious Zenith Hotel. At the reception desk, Claire adjusted her perfectly tailored uniform and greeted guests with a smile that radiated authority. She prided herself on running a tight ship, ensuring only the right kind of clientele entered the establishment. A man in a casual hoodie and jeans strolled through the revolving door. His scruffy, unkempt appearance stood out among the polished suits and designer dresses that usually graced the lobby. Claire's eyes narrowed as she watched him approach. "Good evening," the man said with an easy smile, his hands casually in his pockets. "I'd like to book a room for the night." Claire's smile tightened and she glanced at him up and down. "I'm sorry, sir, but we're fully booked," she said curtly, though she knew it wasn't true. The Zenith prided itself on its exclusivity, and she couldn't imagine someone dressed like him fitting in with their elite clientele. "Really? Fully booked?" The man arched a brow and glanced around the sparsely occupied lobby. "I checked online and there were plenty of rooms available." Claire's expression didn't falter. "The online system can lag behind. We cater to a certain standard here, sir, and I believe another hotel might better suit your needs." The man chuckled softly, an amused glint in his eyes. "A certain standard, huh? What if I said I'm happy to pay for your best suite?" Claire barely concealed her scoff. "Our presidential suite starts at $20,000 a night. Perhaps you'd like to check somewhere more affordable?" A few guests nearby glanced over, sensing tension. Claire straightened her posture, proud of her ability to uphold the hotel's image. She had worked hard to ensure that Zenith maintained its air of exclusivity, and she wasn't about to let someone like him ruin it. The man pulled out his phone, tapping the screen briefly. Within seconds, Claire's phone on the desk buzzed, with an alert. Frowning, she opened it and froze. A booking had just been made, for the presidential suite. The name on the reservation sent a jolt through her: Elon Musk. Her heart sank, her mind racing. Could it be? She looked up at the man, suddenly recognizing the face beneath the casual attire. Her cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and panic. "Mr. Musk," she stammered, her voice faltering. I didn't realize." He held up a yellow hand, cutting her off gently. "Don't worry," he said, his tone calm but firm. "You didn't realize I own this place." He leaned on the counter, his gaze steady. "I like to drop in unannounced now and then to see how things are running." Claire's knees felt weak. The murmurs in the lobby grew louder as people began to piece together what was happening. "Mr. Musk, please accept my apologies," she stuttered. "I didn't mean to." "You meant to judge me based on how I look," he interrupted, though his voice remained even. "That's not how I want my hotels to treat anyone. Every guest should feel welcome here no matter how they're dressed or who they are." Claire nodded rapidly, her polished demeanor crumbling. "It won't happen again, I swear," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Elon gave her a long, measured look before stepping back. "I hope not," he said. "I'll be staying in the presidential suite tonight. Make sure everything's perfect." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving her standing frozen, her face burning with humiliation. The lobby fell silent for a moment before whispers filled the air. Claire swallowed hard, the weight of her mistake pressing down on her. She had learned a painful lesson. In the world of hospitality, you never know who might walk through the door. As Elon Musk disappeared into the elevator, Claire's heart raced. The whispers around her grew louder, a mix of shock, curiosity, and thinly veiled amusement. She quickly straightened her uniform, trying to regain her composure, but her trembling hands betrayed her. "Isn't that the guy who owns Tesla?" one guest murmured nearby. "Yeah, and SpaceX too," another replied, eyes wide. "He owns this hotel? Imagine messing up like that." Claire forced a smile, pretending not to hear. She needed to salvage what little dignity she had left. Grabbing the internal phone, she called the concierge desk. "Prepare the presidential suite. Immediately. Everything must be flawless. I want a welcome basket sent up with the finest champagne we have. Now." Her voice wavered slightly, but she tried to sound authoritative. Hanging up, she turned to her colleague, Sam, who had been quietly watching the scene unfold from the other end of the desk. His expression was a mix of sympathy and disbelief. "Claire," he said carefully, "you just turned away one of the most influential people on the planet. What were you thinking?" I didn't recognize him," she whispered, her voice strained. "How was I supposed to know he'd walk in looking like that? He didn't even look important." Sam raised an eyebrow. "Maybe that's the point. You can't judge people by appearances. You've been so focused on keeping things exclusive that you forgot the basics of hospitality." Claire didn't respond. She knew he was right, but admitting it out loud was too painful. Instead, she busied herself with arranging a handwritten apology note to be sent to Elon's suite. Each word felt heavy, the weight of her mistake sinking in deeper with every sentence. Meanwhile, upstairs in the presidential suite, Elon stood by the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing out at the city lights. He wasn't angry. He had seen this kind of behavior before, but it always disappointed him. People often made snap judgments, and while he understood human nature, he had hoped his staff would be better than that. Still, he had a plan. The next morning, Claire arrived at her desk, determined to prove herself. She had spent the night replaying the incident in her head, vowing to never let such a mistake happen again. But as the elevator doors opened, her heart sank. Elon Musk stepped out, still in his casual attire, but this time with a confident, knowing smile. "Good morning, Claire," he said, his tone light. "Good morning, Mr. Musk," she replied, bowing her head slightly. "I want to apologize again for my behavior yesterday. It was unprofessional and completely unacceptable." Elon studied her for a moment before nodding. "Apology accepted. But I want you to understand something." He gestured around the lobby. "This hotel represents excellence, not elitism. It's a place where anyone, no matter how they look or where they come from, should feel welcome. Do you understand?" "Yes, Mr. Musk," she said, her voice firm despite the lump in her throat. "Good." He smiled, his tone softening. "Now, I'm hosting a staff meeting this afternoon. I'll be addressing everyone about the kind of culture I expect here. I trust you'll be there?" "Of course," Claire said quickly. As Elon walked away, she let out a shaky breath. The lesson had been harsh, but it was one she wouldn't forget. From that day forward, she resolved to treat every guest with the same level of respect, regardless of their appearance or status. It wasn't just about preserving the hotel's reputation, it was about being a better person. The experience became the talk of the staff for weeks, but for Claire, it was more than just an embarrassing incident. It was a turning point. One that reshaped not only her approach to her job, but also how she viewed people. And though she'd never admit it, she silently thanked Elon Musk for teaching her a lesson in humility she hadn't known she needed. Months passed, and Claire had transformed her approach to hospitality. She made it a point to greet every guest warmly, no matter how they were dressed or how they carried themselves. The Zenith Hotel, under Elon Musk's ownership, became a beacon of inclusivity while maintaining its reputation for excellence. The staff noticed Claire's change and admired her efforts to lead by example. One quiet afternoon, a familiar figure strolled into the lobby. Elon Musk, once again in his trademark hoodie and jeans, approached the reception desk. This time, Claire greeted him with a genuine smile. "Welcome back, Mr. Musk," she said warmly. "It's always a pleasure to have you here. Do you need your usual suite, or should I check availability for something different?" Elon grinned. "Look at you, Claire, a complete turnaround. How's the staff doing? Any lingering traces of that elitism I talked about?" "Not at all," she replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "Your message really resonated with everyone. I've even started a mentorship program for new hires to ensure they understand the kind of culture you want here." Elon tilted his head, impressed. "A mentorship program? That's a great idea. It's good to see you taking initiative." "Thank you, sir," Claire said, a little nervous but confident. "I learned a lot from my mistake, and I'm doing my best to make sure no one else has to go through what I did." That's what I like to hear, Elon said, leaning casually on the counter. By the way, I've been getting reports from other properties. Seems like word about your mentorship program has spread. They're interested in implementing something similar. Claire's eyes widened. Really? That's incredible. I'd be happy to help, of course. Elon nodded. I thought you might say that, which is why I've decided to make you the regional guest relations manager. You'll be overseeing the training programs for all the Zenith hotels. The words hit Claire like a bolt of lightning. Me? Regional manager? You've earned it, Elon said simply. You turned a bad situation into an opportunity to grow, and you've made a lasting impact. That's the kind of leadership I value. Claire struggled to contain her emotions. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I won't let you down. I know you won't, he said, giving her a nod before walking toward the elevators. Oh, and Claire? Yes? She called after him. Don't judge anyone too harshly, he said with a wink. You never know. They might end up being your boss someday. The entire lobby erupted into laughter as Claire chuckled, shaking her head. She had come a long way from the humiliating moment months ago, and now she stood tall, proud of the person she had become. It wasn't just about the title or recognition. It was about the lesson she had learned and the chance to make a difference. From that day forward, the Zenith Hotel thrived not just as a luxury destination, but as a symbol of respect, humility, and human connection. And Claire, now a leader in her own right, carried Elon Musk's words with her everywhere she went, proving that sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected places. Claire's promotion to Regional Guest Relations Manager brought both excitement and challenges. She was now responsible for implementing the mentorship program across all Zenith properties, and her schedule was packed with meetings, travel, and training sessions. However, she embraced the role wholeheartedly, determined to live up to Elon Musk's trust in her. Months later, during a quarterly leadership summit held at the flagship Zenith Hotel in New York, Claire found herself standing in front of dozens of managers from properties worldwide. The large conference room buzzed with anticipation as she prepared to share her vision for guest relations. Claire took a deep breath and began, "Good morning, everyone. I'm here today because I made a mistake, a big one. But that mistake taught me something invaluable. We're not just in the hospitality business, we're in the business of making people feel valued." The room fell silent as she recounted the story of her initial encounter with Elon Musk. She didn't hold back, describing her assumptions, her humiliation, and the lesson she learned. "It wasn't just about me," she continued. "It was about the culture we create at Zenith. And now it's my mission to ensure that every staff member, from the front desk to housekeeping, understands that every guest deserves respect and kindness." The audience erupted into applause, and Claire felt a swell of pride. After the presentation, several managers approached her to share how her story had resonated with them. Many admitted they had made similar mistakes in their careers and were inspired to change their approach. One manager from the London property, a woman named Priya, said, "Your story hit close to home. I've caught myself making snap judgments, and I see now how damaging that can be. I'm going to take this lesson back to my team." Claire smiled. "That's all I could hope for. It's about creating ripples of change, one interaction at a time." Later that evening, as Claire sat at the hotel's rooftop lounge overlooking the city, she received a text from Elon Musk. It was short, as always. "Heard about your speech. Proud of you. Keep going." She couldn't help but grin. That one line carried more weight than any formal commendation. She replied simply, "Thank you for believing in me." The following weeks were a whirlwind as the mentorship program rolled out globally. Claire traveled to properties in Paris, Tokyo, and Dubai, meeting staff and sharing her philosophy. She saw firsthand how her story and Elon's vision were transforming the culture of the company. Employees felt more empowered to treat guests and each other with genuine kindness. During a visit to the Dubai property, Claire encountered a young receptionist named Omar, who reminded her of her former self. He was sharp, professional, and a little too focused on appearances. After observing him for a day, she pulled him aside. "Omar," she said gently, "I see a lot of potential in you, but I also see something I recognize. An overemphasis on perfection. Let me tell you a story." She recounted her first meeting with Elon Musk, her mistake, and the lesson it taught her. Omar listened intently, his expression shifting from curiosity to self-reflection. "I think I understand," he said quietly. "I've been so focused on impressing the right people that I've forgotten why I'm here. To serve everyone, no matter who they are." Claire placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's never too late to change. Trust me, I'm living proof of that." By the end of her visit, Omar had completely shifted his demeanor, treating every guest with warmth and respect. When Claire returned to her office, she received an email from the Dubai hotel's general manager praising Omar's transformation. Years later, the mentorship program became a case study in hospitality schools worldwide, a testament to how one mistake could spark meaningful change. Claire's story was told and retold, not as a tale of failure, but as a lesson in humility, growth, and leadership. And every so often, Elon Musk would drop by a Zenith hotel unannounced, still in his hoodie and jeans, to see how things were running. Each time, he'd leave with a satisfied smile, knowing that his vision of a welcoming, inclusive culture was alive and thriving, thanks to one receptionist who had turned her moment of humiliation into a legacy of compassion and excellence.